It's officially Tariff Day, or as the president would call it, Liberation Day. And guys, come back to the channel later today. I do plan on doing a live stream, but I have a bunch of kids, so it is tentative. I'll just say that. But make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon just in case I do live stream tonight talking about the reality of the tariffs. They're supposed to be enacted at 4 o'clock Eastern time. That's not when I would live stream. If I live stream, it would be probably more like 7:15, 7:30 Eastern time. But what we're going to focus on right now is the crazy stampede. I would call it the old school Black Friday rush when people are getting in the doors and they're like trampling each other. This is a sort of craziness that was going on in the car market for the month of March. Now we have these sales numbers, and many manufacturers not only smashed a best March ever, some of them smashed a best month of sales of all time here in the United States. It's kind of mind-blowing. So we're going to break down these sales today from Toyota, Honda. Guys, quarter one's over. So not only is it like cool to talk about quarter one, but then you add all the juiciness of the tariff rush in here. Nissan, Subaru, Mazda, Ford, General Motors. I mean, we got it all today. We got a smorgasbord of news to talk about, sales talks, and the madness, the tariff madness going on right now. Guys, if you're new to the channel, I talk about car news every single day. Make sure you're subscribed because I make car news. If you like car news, make sure you're subscribed. Simple as that. I appreciate it so much. I've been seeing a lot of growth on the channel lately, and I'm very appreciative for each and every one of you out there. And while you're at it, hit that like button and let's get into it. General Motors, Toyota, Ford, Honda, Hyundai, Kia ride pre-tariff rush. Guys, it's not just them, it's everyone. Just about everyone riding that rush, getting crazy sales at the end of the month especially. March retail volume jumped 19% at Ford, 15% at Hyundai, 25% at Kia. Honda, which does little fleet business, March volume rose 13% on light trucks, that's their crossovers, of 108,000. Guys, wait till you see the CRV sales. It's going to just melt your brains. General Motors racked up its first quarter sales gain of 17%, with retail deliveries advancing 15%. Volumes up at Chevy, GMC. Look at the Buick surge. Guys, long live the very affordable Buicks right now. Buick is probably one of the most affordable brands in America. They import a lot of their cars from Korea and China. That might have something to do with it. But with the tariffs, they might not be one of the cheapest brands anymore. Wow, the times we're living in. So I'm not going to focus on the quarter too much. I want to focus in the overall score sheet on the month of March. Guys, Ford 10% up, Lincoln 11% up, Acura 6%. That's saying something because the TLX, they just haven't had like any volume this year. Poor old Acura. Honda up 14% on the month of March. Genesis 20%, Hyundai 13%, Mazda up 16%, Lexus up 14%, Toyota 6%. It's a little bit mind melting. We need to move fast because I have a lot of sales data to get through. First quarter electrified Toyota in sales make up more than 50% of total sales volume. I knew it was going to be this year sometime, that they would be over 50% electrification penetration. Obviously, like 95+% of it is probably their hybrid volume. But Lexus division recorded its best ever first quarter sales result. Guys, that Lexus momentum is insane. Also, their day supply with Toyota are the lowest in the industry. So they're pretty much all pre-sold. But you also have to keep in mind that Lexus sold more cars in 2024 in the United States than they ever have in the history of the company, dating back to 1989. Now they're just, I mean, this quarter is just, it's hard to put words on. Anyways, 32 electrified, blah, 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 right? They're tooting their horn. I will have some Toyota news coming in the next day technically. So make sure you're subscribed. If you guys like Toyota stuff, I can't say I'm under embargo, so I cannot divulge any other information. We're going to focus on month and then of course year to date, which is first quarter in this situation, right? The Corolla on a DSR daily selling rate is actually negative or neutral, but they're negative in volume so far this year. They're down about 4,500 units so far this year. Not sure what's going on there. Supra, it's a niche product. They're going to be discontinuing it soon, right? We know about the final edition over in Japan. All right, GR86 down 16%, another niche product, but that's just for the month. But if you look at the year, they're up 36%. Mirai, whatever. Crown, down 70%. Why is the Crown down so much? What is going on with this vehicle? Are they just really, really dialing back the volume? Or, this is why. It's because the Crown Signia is here. They are dialing back the volume on the Crown. They're like, no one's really, someone messaged me yesterday personally, and they're like, hey, we bought the Crown. It's a great car. The Crown's a great car. But it's not exactly what the general market wants. The general market wants crossovers. And when you look at the Crown Signia, they know that they're like, hey, this is where the volume is for the premium end of Toyota, which is questionable, right? Because of Lexus coexists with the Crown lineup. So that's where the Crown volume went. It all went to the Crown Signia. And then some, right? Because the Crown Signia is outselling what the Crown did last year, all right, when the Crown Signia was not on sale. Prius, up 25% on the year, up 77% on the month. We're finally out of the doldrums with the Prius, all right? If they're able to sell 7,258 times 12, that's 87,000 Prius. That's pretty good. It's nowhere near the peak in 2012 when they're selling over 200,000, but that's good. All right, Prius is back. But what tariffs, right? Who knows what, I mean, supposedly 25% on every single imported car into America. Everything essentially got hit with the chicken tax, except the chicken tax went up to 50% instead of 25% starting today. Yeah. Anyways, IS minus 4.6%. We're on to Lexus. Well, maybe we'll come back to Lexus. How about that? BZ4X up 200% on the year, up 100% on the month. Okay, we're going to be getting a refresh on it. They're probably having a fire sale on this thing before the refresh comes around this summer is when I'm expecting it. RAV4 down 7.5%. They've sold 115,000. They are not pacing what they paced last year. Because last year they sold 470,000, 475,000. So if we look at RAV4 times 4, we're at 460,000. So they're a little bit behind of what they sold last year, but that could change. But I doubt it because they're going to have a redesign coming this year and volume's going to keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking like it did with the Tacoma about a year or two ago. All right, let's keep moving. RAV4 down about 8% on the month. Corolla Cross. This thing, though, is helping the lack of RAV4 volume. It's up 40% on the month and 27% on the year. They've sold 24,000 so far, but look at the acceleration here on the Corolla Cross. It's really picking up steam in the month of March. Crown Signia, we already talked about. They sold about 8,000 units. Venza, rest in peace, sadly. Toyota Highlander, well, it's down massively because of the Grand Highlander shared production. Grand Highlander is up so far on the year. So if they maintain, let's say they maintain 11,000 times 12, that's 132,000 Grand Highlanders. And the Highlander's at 5,500 times 12, 66. Okay, so yeah, we're at about double the Grand Highlander here from what we're pacing and what we've already seen so far this year. 4Runner is down 75% on the year as the new model is coming in. So they're switching over. As they switch over, it's going to take time, just like it did with the Tacoma last year. It takes time to get that volume up. All right, especially when you're talking about a vehicle that shares nothing with the old 4Runner. So down 45% on the month. Sequoia, down 14% on the year, 16% on the month. It's a very, very low seller for the brand. Land Cruiser sold 15,000 so far this year, about double what the 4Runner does or has. Traditionally, the 4Runner would outsell the Land Cruiser like 4-1. All right, these sales would be more than the Corolla Cross, while they are, and they'd be more than the Grand Highlander technically. So their sales is just way behind on the 4Runner. What about Toyota's VIN minivan? It's up 46% on the year. I broke that news. Well, I didn't break it. I shared that news with you guys a few months back that the Sienna was going to get far more volume this year, and families can rejoice because it's happening. 46% up on the year. So what are they pacing? It'll be fun to compare this to the Odyssey here in a little bit. So 23, 5, 6, gosh, I can't type. Let's just say 9,000 times 12. They're pacing 108,000 Siennas so far this year. If they can keep this really high clip up, which is probably unlikely, but 100,000 would be amazing to see of the Sienna. The Tacoma is up massively. Remember the Tacoma, as they switched production in their 2 plants in Mexico last year, just had no volume. We'll see this huge gain on the 4Runner next year, likely, depending on tariffs, right? So the Tacoma up about 177% on the year, almost 200% on the month. All right, the Tacoma volume's high. Tundra, about neutral on the year, a little bit behind to be honest, but the Sequoia is also behind on the year. So I don't know what's going on in San Antonio. Maybe they're reducing production as they're seeing a lull in demand. That's a possibility. They don't want to have to incentivize it too much, so they'll go back on production a bit. All right, let's head to Lexus. IS down 5%. The IS is so old. It still looks fresh. It looks great. People like old school, but man, is it a little too much old school on the interior. Lexus RC, it's going to be canceled any day now. We know the RCF is canceled. I believe the RC is canceled as well. So there's no more F products within Lexus lineup. It's having a good year, but it sold 400 units. It's insignificant. Same thing with the LS and the LC. The LS down 40%. The LS is almost guaranteed to be discontinued in the next year or two, guys. All right, as the ES will probably replace it. The ES electric and ES hybrid. LC though, okay volume for the year, but it's such a niche product. I see them everywhere down here, but I don't live in a normal place. ES, Lexus ES, this is their volume sedan. The volume's looking really good as they finish out production this summer on the ES in Kentucky. It goes to Japan later this year, but little did Toyota and Lexus know that their vehicles would be tariffed from Japan with the ES going over there. So, hindsight's always 20/20. They should have just kept it stateside, but it is what it is. All right, Lexus crossovers. NX a little bit down on the year, UX down on the year, but the UX, they're probably having to incentivize it too much. It's not a good buy. When the NX doesn't cost that much more, it's a bigger vehicle. You get the same efficiency, you get more power. It's just a better car, like head and toes over the UX for not that much more money. So the NX made in Canada, which is going to get probably hit with tariffs. All these cars, guys, other than, I don't want to go down the tariff route right now. I feel like we'd be here all day, but I would say 60% of these cars, if not more from Toyota and Lexus, at least the models are going to be tariffed, not the total volume. The total volume is not going to be tariffed as much, but the models wise, it will be. All right, and that affects a lot of people. So the NX seeing gains, RZ, whatever, they have a refresh coming. RX, it's a little bit negative on the year, but that NX volume's making up for it. Maybe they're seeing a surge in NX demand. I like the NX more than the RX, so maybe they're seeing people that they can get RX-like experience for less money, and you get the same powertrains in the NX as you do in the RX, other than the 500h. Excuse me, the GX and TX. Well, the TX is going to be fine. TX is building off that Grand Highlander volume. There will be no stop sale this year. They're going to be pacing 4,500 times 12, best case scenario. It's 54,000 TXs, guys. That is a ton. That is a ton of volume. Let's look at the volume right now on the TX. 10,000 so far this year, but it's really, really cranked up this past month. So if they can maintain that volume, it's going to be second best selling vehicle over the ES, and maybe over the NX. It's possible. I doubt it. It's probably going to be third. It'll probably pass the ES this year. Lexus GX, look at this volume. Guys, the GX, we know that the Land Cruiser volume was super high, 15,000. And look at the GX volume, very high as well, a little over 9,000. So here's Lexus and Toyota printing money on the backs of their hybrids, but for how long? We know yesterday we talked about how Toyota is not going to be changing their prices. Their dealers could absolutely change the price for the tariffs, but we'll see what happens. American Honda, multiple March and Q1 sales records. American Honda light truck sets best month of all time of 108,000. Also electrified sales of hybrids and EVs, best March and best Q1. Honda brand post-March sales of 135,000, up 14%. Best month since June of 2021. And Q1 sales of 320,000, up nearly 6% since last year. All right, Acura brand logs the best month of the year with March sales of 12,000. All right, so let's go ahead and get into, guys, some of these record-setting months. CRV scores best sales month in history. Let that sink in. The CRV, when did it go on sale? 98 or something? Best sales month in history of 45,000+ units, and the hybrids making 54% of the CRV sales. Wow. Passport. I'm actually wearing a Passport Trail Sport shirt right now. It's pretty sick from my Honda trip. But the Passport posts record March sales of 5,500 units, up 90% roughly year over year with the new model at dealerships now. HRV tops 15,000 units, setting a new March record and putting down its second best month of all time. Odyssey's passed 10,000 units for the first time in 6 years. Minivan market is hot AF right now. Ridgeline, it's been limping along. There's been talks that the Ridgelines could be canceled. We'll see in the next year or so. Prologue is best month of the year. Who knows how much longer the Prologue will be along when when Honda makes their own EVs out of the EV hub in Ohio. We'll see. Honda passenger cars sales achieved best month of 2025. Accord down 27%. Why? Well, it shares production in Marysville, Ohio with the Integra and the TLX. Those models are also affected. All right, as we'll see in a little bit. So there's not much they can do with the volume on the Accord. Civic down 5%. No, the Civic is made in Indiana. It's also made in Canada. So the sedans, I think, are made up in Canada. Those ones are, in theory, are going to be the ones to be tariffed, and the hatchbacks that are made in the United States would not be. But yeah, it's doing okay so far this year. CRV is up 8% on the year, up 24% on the month. Guys, best month ever for the CRV. Let that sink in. HRV up 11%, I believe. Yeah, we're looking at volume change here. So HRV up 11, almost 12%. HRV sales are huge. They're going to get close to the Civic sales, but they will never be able to pass Civic sales because of the production restraints that they have in Mexico, which is now going to be splitting ADX, which ADX, they sold 178 units. It's out there. It's on the market. They have to split the ADX sales with the HRV down in Mexico. Those are going to be tariffed. All right. Odyssey built in Lincoln, Alabama. My wife and I are planning to buy one sometime this year. We'll see though. We want a house too. So we got a lot of stuff to figure out. So housing market's coming down, thankfully, at least where I live. All right. So Odyssey though, up 27% on the month, up 42%. Sorry, up 42% on the month, up 27% on the year. The Odyssey is very, very impressive. The Odyssey so far has sold 22,000 units. Where's the Sienna? Guys, where's the Sienna? Sienna's 23,000. Love the competition going on between the Sienna and the Odyssey. Long live the minivan. Honda Passport. We're seeing these surging numbers here, also made in Lincoln, Alabama. Should be one. The Odyssey, the Passport, the Pilot, the Ridgeline should be some of the vehicles least affected by tariffs. Passport doing great. Pilot is up 7% on the month, 9% on the year. Pilot's crushing it. So Honda's Large vehicles, actually just Honda in general, is crushing it. It's that their Accord's down, the Civic's down, Integra's down 25%, TLX is down, which wasn't good. I mean, the TLX has been down for years at this point. I mean, they're barely selling any. 1,500 is all they sold so far this year. ADX is on the market. They will make up for some of that lost ground, but TLX made in America, ADX made in Mexico, tariff situation. We'll see what happens there. MDX, built in Ohio. All right. They are down on the year, but it's pretty much neutral. Minus 5%, not that devastating. RDX, minus 12% on the year. Pretty rough. Pretty rough if you ask me. All right. And ZDX, but ZDX is kind of making up that volume where the MDX and RDX are falling back. And it sadly can't make up all the volume that we see on Integra and TLX. However, for the month Acura is up. Remember, if we go up to Acura division, they're up 6.6%. And on the year, they're up 1%. So technically, the ZDX is there to kind of fill in where every other vehicle in their lineup is down on the year. Save the ADX, right? So the ZDX is kind of saving Acura's bacon. Fascinating. But you could say, well, they have to incentivize it to the moon, so it's a loss. Yeah, you can make that argument. Should we talk about Nissan? Nissan's dropping the price on the Rogue and Pathfinder by an average of $1,000 per model. Big whoop. They're already discounting them at the dealer $5, $6, $7 plus $1,000. It doesn't mean anything. All right. I think maybe it's a little bit easier for the dealers to stomach when they don't have to incentivize an extra $1,000 per car. All right, let's get into Nissan. We know that they're struggling, but we will have a new Leaf this year. We'll have a new Sentra. Nissan's up 6% on the year. Infiniti is down 5%. I reviewed a QX50 yesterday. Stay tuned for that review. It is, yes, I think most of you guys know how I might be harsh on the QX50. We'll see. Just wait for the review. All right. I think there are some really good things about it, but anyways, wait for my review. Okay. Well, what are the highlights? Versa's up 156%. People need cheap cars, but it's made in Mexico. So don't know how much longer it's going to be had at its bargain basement price. Leaf is up a lot, but they're discontinuing it for the new model. HIKES is up 85%, made in Mexico. So we'll see how that fares as the year goes on. Murano's up 84%. Murano's a really good vehicle. I really like the Murano. It's one of my favorite Nissan. So is the HIKES. HIKES and Murano are both kick butt. And the Murano's made in Smyrna, Tennessee, so shouldn't be majorly affected by tariffs. All right, so let's take a look at Versa, up 156% on the year. Go Versa, go. See if you can snag one in the 5-speed manual. I think they still make it in a 5-speed manual. Sentra, up 36%. People need affordable cars. Altima, up 28% on the quarter and 25% on the year. Maxima, rest in peace. They are still selling Maximas. What? They sold 11 Maximas last quarter. All right. So anyways, Leaf up 100%. Fascinating. Juke, rest in peace. Just take it off the list unless you're bringing it back. Nissan Z, up 221%. I'm seeing a lot of Zs out there. I saw a Z Nismo this morning. That neon yellow is pretty cool. GTR, rest in peace. All right. Kicks up 85%, but tariffs. So we'll see what happens. Frontier, built in Kent, Mississippi, will not be affected in theory by tariffs too much. I don't know where the engine and transmission's made on that. Those are going to be tariffs starting next month, the engine, transmission, electrical components. Yikes. All right, Titan, rest in peace. Xterra, take it off the list unless you bring it back. Maybe they're bringing it back. They have that little electric car that they teased, electric crossover that they teased is coming 2027, I think. Pathfinder, volume's pretty good there. Armada, they just got a new one. I'm seeing Armadas on the road, seeing the QX80s out there. Love the Armada. It's one of my favorite Nissans. Same thing with the Frontier. Love just love their body on frame. Nissan does body on frame really, really well. All right, that's why we need the Xterra back. All right, Rogue, yikes, minus 30%. Yeah, I mean, watch my review on the Rogue. There's a reason why they're cutting production, because it's not as desirable car. you would have to have a fire sale on a Rogue in order for me to even consider one. All right, like crazy lease deal. Nissan Aria. Okay, electric car, we'll see what happens. It's going to be hit with tariffs anyways. Murano, I already talked about that. Go Murano, go. 8,700 units. All right, let's get into Infiniti. Bloodbath. QX50, watch my review on it. It's down 70%. I'm almost 100% sure they're going to kill this car by this summer. Q60, rest in peace. Q70, rest in peace. QX30, rest in peace. QX50, gosh, guys, this is a graveyard we're talking about here. QX50, oh, shoot, I got the Q50 mixed up. Well, the Q50 was discontinued. Duh. Let me backtrack. The Q50 is the Skyline made in Japan. All right, this is a problem with their naming, right? Their cars are named too similar, as you guys saw me just stumble there. Q50 Skyline, rest in peace. All right, this is going to be completely discontinued. But the QX50 that's made in Mexico that is getting discontinued more than likely this year is down about 17% on the month, 20% on the year. QX55, the coupe crossover, also made in Mexico, down 22% on the year. They're hardly selling any of these. These are typically big volume sellers. QX60, made in Smyrna, Tennessee. Even this vehicle's down. But why is it down? It was one of my favorite 3-row luxury crossovers. But guess what they did? They took the V6, they took the bulletproof VQ 3.5-liter V6 out of there, and they put a 2-liter VC turbo 4-cylinder in it. And it made it from a solid buy, maybe even an excellent buy, to a fire sale only. It hurts me so much that they did that. Just for the sake of emissions. Holy shnikes. Rest in peace, QX70, but we will get a QX65 soon. And that's a really hot looking crossover. But again, 2-liter VC turbo needs to have a V6 or a hybrid. No hybrids to be found. No EVs to be found. Nothing exciting Infiniti, nothing really exciting in Nissan right now. That will change, but we got to wait. In the meantime, Nissan's just bleeding out. QX80, love the vehicle. Just buy an Armada though. It's up 68%. The Armada is 99% of the same vehicle as a QX80. Looks better in my opinion and costs a lot less. Just go buy an Armada. Moving on to Ford. I typically don't cover Ford in these sales breakdowns, but why not? Ford retail rose 5% in the first quarter and 19% increase in retail in March. Sales of F-Series grew 24%. Ford electrified vehicles hit a record 73,000 up 26%. Sales of off-road performance vehicles grew 20%. And Broncos up 35%. All right. Well, shall we scroll down here? I'm just going to pick out some things that really stick out. SUVs, holy crap. SUVs are down 16%, but their trucks are up 15%. So it's a little bit of a wash there. Cars, well, they sell so little cars. Was it just the Mustang they consider a car? Mustang's down essentially 31%. Let's go to Mustang. Let's find Mustang. Not Mustang Mach-E. Let's find Mustang right here. Yep, down 31%. There you go. There you have it. That's why it's down so much. They just have one car and it's down a lot. It's down a lot. Ford Bronco Sport doing well. It's just getting a refresh right. That's good. Ford Escape, aren't they killing it off soon? You guys will let me know. But it's up. Bronco crushing it right now. There must be some good deals on it. Up 35%. Mustang Mach-E up 21% on the quarter. Edge down, rest in peace. Explorer down 19%. Expedition down 40%. Holy smokes, why is the Expedition down almost 40%? F-Series trucks up 24%. Laughable, the Lightning down 7%. Haven't driven it, so I can't really roast it, but electric vehicles and pickup trucks, they're not the most harmonious combination. Ranger, what's going on? Why is the Ranger up 600%? Guys, can you tell me why the Ranger is up 600%, almost 700%? You will tell me. Was it a redesign or something? I don't know. Maverick down 2%. That's not good. This is one of my favorite vehicles on the market right now. This should be up. This is made in Mexico. Same thing with the Bronco Sport. Those two vehicles, what are tariffs going to do to it? Who knows? E-Series, whatever, Transits, whatever. All right. Lincoln. I just drove the Nautilus so far this year, and I've driven the Aviator. Not the biggest fan of the Nautilus. It's an okay car. The Aviator really, really surprised me, but it's down 23%. It just got a refresh, so maybe they don't have the volume up on the refreshed model, but the Aviator really surprised me. Navigator, last time I drove one, not impressed with it, but they have refreshed it. Maybe it's better. Okay, the Navigator is up 30%. Corsair, about neutral. General Motors, well, I don't think they really give us like a spreadsheet of numbers. They just kind of, pad their stats a bit, talk about the highlights. They're number one in total sales, number one in retail sales, number one in fleet sales, number one in full-size pickups, best Q1 sales since 2007. Think about that. Think about that. Guys, are we on the cusp of another economic turndown? Because 2008 happened, and man, the whole world woke up. All right, housing market, car market, the global markets were in pain in the late 2000s. So now we're seeing a best Q1 since that time. Makes me wonder if we see something around the corner here in the global economy. Tariffs may or may not accelerate that. Again, we don't know. We got to wait till 4 o'clock today. Number one, full-size SUVs. All right. Do I not have Subaru pulled up? Oh, I skipped them. And Mazda. Subaru celebrates record March sales and best ever sales month in company history. Guys, best ever sales for Subaru ever. Best month ever for Forester. Best March ever for Crosstrek and Solterra. Just slaying it. The Subarus out there. Let's look at these huge numbers. Ascent, whatever. They could cancel it for all I care. It's not very competitive. BRZ, the BRZ is up. Remember the GR86 was down. Crosstrek, Subaru Crosstrek up 14% on the year, but 25% on the month. Legacy up 53% on the month. Legacy's built, I think it's built here in America, isn't it? Isn't Subaru's plant in Indiana? Yes, Subaru Indiana, just like double checking. Haven't been to that plant yet. Outback, I'm pretty sure is mainly built in the United States as well, where the Forester is mainly built and the Crosstrek is mainly built, I think, in Japan. Okay, so tariffs are going to hit Subaru kind of hard here. So that's why they're like, buy now, buy our products now. We don't know what the tariff situation is going to be. More than likely, our car is going to get a lot more expensive. WRX is having a good year, but not a good month. All right, but a good year. So Subaru doing really, really well. Best month ever. Mazda, best also single month ever for sales. Holy smokes. Subaru, Mazda. We'll get to Kia and Hyundai here in a little bit. I got to pull those guys up still. They're up 5% compared to last year's March. Their record sales are now 43,097. Best March sales of CX-50. Best March sales of CX-70 just went on sale. And best March sales of CX-90. Holy cow. Look at Mazda Canada also crushing it, up 43%. Wow. And Mazda in Mexico up 25% compared to last year. Right? Tariffs are going to hit all of us in North America. Whether we like, no one's going to like it, right? No one wants to pay more for things, but will there be a long-term payoff? I don't have a crystal ball. All right. Wait for this stream later today, God willing, I can do it. All right. We'll see. Mazda 3. Well, I just reviewed it. Wait for my review to go up probably today, tomorrow. It's done. The video is uploaded. Just got to do it. It's a good car. It's an expensive car, though. All right. Mazda 3 is down on the year. Mazda Miata, after the Indy 3 refresh, volumes back up. CX-30, volumes down. They make the CX-30 in Mexico and Japan. Not looking good for the tariffs. CX-5 only made in Japan, not looking good for the tariffs, but it's doing okay so far this year. CX-50, look at this volume. Guys, CX-50, including the hybrid, up 116% on the month, up 51% on the year. Huge volume there. CX-70 sold 4,600 units so far this year. About, what is that? A third of the CX-90's 15,000 units. CX-90's crushing it. You should be able to get really good deals, guys, on the CX-90 and the CX-70. There's a lot of volume out there and a lot of volume compared to what they sold last year. However, they are seemingly working through this volume with how much their sales are up. All right. So Mazda crushing it. Let's look up the Koreans. Kia America achieves highest March and first quarter sales in company history. Best ever March at 78,000 units, increase of 13% year over year, and a record-breaking first quarter. Carnival Sportage, Telluride, gotta love the minivans. Shout out to the minivans. K4 achieved highest month sales record to date. So they had their best sales. So guys, we talked about how minivans are doing really well. Odyssey had like their best sales month in like 6 years or something. We saw the Sienna up like 60 to 70% in sales volume. And here's a Carnival breaking their record sales. Hell yes to the minivans. Sales of all new K4 compacts have well, here's the thing. Yes, the K4s are everywhere. I'm seeing everywhere. They're made in Mexico. How will the tariffs affect that? Don't know quite yet. Probably 25% unless some concessions are made. EV9, is it made in Korea or is it made in the United? I think it's going to be made in the Meta plant. Some of them were made, the early ones are made in Korea. I think they're all made in the United States now. EV6, I think that's made as well in Korea, but it will be made at the Meta plant here in Georgia. All right, K4, made in Mexico. This volume is absurd. The K4 is the second best-selling vehicle. It's almost going to beat the Sportage. Sportage is made, I think, here in the United States. Sorento is as well. Telluride is made in Korea. Carnival is made in Korea. Okay, so Kia is going to be hit pretty hard with tariffs, I think. Niro, Korea. Seoul, Korea. K5 made in the United States, I think. So Seltos, not made in America. I think that's Korea. So yeah, they're going to be hit pretty hard here, but their sales are crushing it. Regardless, their sales are up massively. Best first quarter ever, best month of March ever. They're blowing records out the door. Let's look up Hyundai. All right, Hyundai Motor America reports record-breaking March and Q1 sales, just like Kia. All right, looking through here, Elantra and Santa Fe, Tucson, Ioniq 5, Palisade hit March records. I take that back. The Palisade is made in Korea. The Telluride from Kia is made in the United States. I believe that's the case. Okay, I get them confused a lot, those two vehicles. They're brothers, even though one is made in the United States, one is made in Korea. The Palisade is made in Korea, I'm pretty sure, and the Telluride made here in the United States. All right, we need cheap cars. Elantra is up 25%. Ioniq 5 up 26%. Ioniq 6, I saw one yesterday. It's not the right vehicle for our market, sadly. Kona, I really like it though. Kona down 26%. Not good. The problem with the Kona is it didn't launch with a hybrid. All right. And it's made in Korea. So that's a problem. Elantra, where's the Elantra made? Is that Mexico too? I don't remember. I don't think so. 5 is made in the United States now mostly. Palisade made in Korea. Kona made in Korea. Santa Cruz made, where's this? Santa Cruz is either the United States or Mexico. All right. I think some of the Tucsons are made in Mexico, not all of them. Santa Fe made in the United States, I'm pretty sure. Sonata made in Korea, pretty sure. Venue made in Korea. But Hyundai, Kia, all these manufacturers just like blew open the sales for the month of March. Double digits, all-time sales records. It's crazy. I got to end it there. I got to take kids to school. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Hopefully, I'll see you guys tonight for that live stream. Stay tuned here on the channel. And if you enjoyed today's content, hit that like button. Peace.